Today, across our nation, we pause. We pause to remember, to honor, to reflect. Today, we honor the men and women who have worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. Those who have stood at attention, raised their right hand, and taken the solemn oath of enlistment. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. It's a vow, a promise to protect not just our borders, but our values, our freedoms, and the very idea of America itself. A promise made by ordinary Americans who are called upon to do extraordinary things. Veterans Day, first known as Armistice Day, traces its roots back to the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, 1918, the moment when the guns fell silent to end the Great War. In 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day, expanding the honor from those who served in World War I to include every man and woman who has answered our nation's call to duty in peace and in war. Across decades and across continents, from the fields of Europe, the deserts of the Middle East, the jungles of the Pacific, to the icy mountains and seas of places far from home, veterans have carried with them a sacred charge to defend, to endure, and to sacrifice. Their service reminds us that freedom is not fear. We remember the young soldier who took their first step on the parade ground, nervous but resolute. The sailor who left the comforts of home to sail the unknown. The airman, the marine, the coast guardsman, each raising their right hand and saying, I will serve. And today we say thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to the principles that make this nation's freedom. So as God bless America, plays softly in the background, we honor our veterans, not just for their service, but for their example, for showing us that commitment, courage, and love of country are timeless values, for reminding us that no matter the challenge, liberty endures, and the American spirit remains at the core. From the bottom of our hearts, we salute you. To our veterans past and present, we see you, we thank you, and we will never forget. And with that, we welcome you to the Ryder Report. I'm Ryder Bullock. Greetings from our Temecula studios on this Veterans Day. Let's get to our top story, and that, of course, is basketball. Nikola Jokic scored 35 points on 16 of 9 shooting and helped the Denver Nuggets pull away for a 122-108 win over the Sacramento Kings at Golden One Center. Denver shot 51.2% from the field, including 39.4% from three, and out-rebounded Sacramento 48-35 with 15 offensive boards. The Nuggets led comfortably for most of the game, building a largest lead of 17 points behind strong scoring from Jokic and a balanced team contributions. For Sacramento, Sabonis led the way with 19 points on 8 of 12 shooting, adding 2 made free throws, but the Kings were unable to match Denver's efficiency. Sacramento shot 48.2% overall and 30.3% from beyond the arc, but turnovers and Denver's dominance in the paint and on the boards proved costly. Despite a solid showing in assists, Sacramento fell to 3-8 overall and 2-4 at home, while Denver improved to 7-2. So up next, Denver hosts Sacramento again, and this time Sacramento looks to rebound. Take you around the NBA. Brandon Ingram scored 25 points to lead the Toronto Raptors to a 119-109 victory over the Brooklyn Nets. Emmanuel quickly added 24 points, including 10 in the fourth quarter, while Scotty Barnes finished with 15 points and 11 rebounds. Jacob Patel contributed a double-double with 12 points and 10 rebounds. Toronto shot 49.5% from the field and out-rebounded Brooklyn 50-36, improving to 5 wins in 6 games. Brooklyn was paced by Nick Claxton and Michael Porter Jr., who each scored 21 points, but the Nets fell to 1-10 and remained winless in 6 home games. Toronto led 60-52 at halftime and extended its advantage to 14 early in the third quarter. Brooklyn closed to 83-81 late in the third, but Toronto responded with key baskets, including a buzzer beater from Jamal Shed and a 7-0 run sparked by Quickly's three-pointer. Toronto has now won 3 straight games at Barclays Center. Up next, the Raptors visit Cleveland and the Nets travel to Orlando. At Madison Square Garden, Jalen Brunson scored 32 points and dished out 10 assists, while Karl Anthony Towns added 21 points and 13 rebounds as the New York Knicks extended their hot start under new coach Mike Brown with a 133-120 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Mikal Bridges contributed 22 points and OG Anunoby added 16, with Jordan Clarkson providing 13 off the bench. The Knicks, now 7-0 at home, have averaged 130.2 points during a 5-game winning streak and are off to their best start at Madison Square Garden since the 2012 season. Memphis was led by Jaren Jackson Jr. and Aldama, who each scored 19 points, while John Morant had 16 points and 10 assists, but struggled shooting 4 for 14. New York built an early lead with a 12-0 run to close the first quarter and a 7-0 spurt early in the second, leading 77-54 at halftime. Although the Grizzlies trimmed a 28-point deficit to 10 in the fourth quarter, the Knicks maintained control. New York rested starting center Mitchell Robinson on the first night of a back-to-back. Looking ahead, Memphis visits Boston and the Knicks host Orlando. The Utah Jazz exploded for 152 points, the highest scoring game in the NBA this season, cruising past the struggling Indiana Pacers 152-128. Markkanen led the way with 35 points, while rookie Ace Bailey added 20 in just his second start, showing off his full arsenal of dunks, mid-range jumpers, and three-pointers. McCulloch also contributed to 20 points, helping Utah dominate from start to finish. Indiana, dealing with injuries and setbacks, fell to 1-10, matching their worst start in franchise history. Pascal Siakam returned with 27 points. Aaron Nesmith scored 17. T.J. McConnell, making his season debut, added 12 in limited minutes. Despite shooting a season-best 46.5%, the Pacers were overpowered by Utah's 55.4% shooting and struggled defensively without an interior presence. Isaiah Collier dished out 11 assists, and the Jazz consistently beat Indiana to loose balls and out-rebounded them 45-35. The game started with Indiana scoring the first 10 points, but Utah surged in the first quarter with 38 points and never looked back. Pacers coach Rick Carlisle used all his timeouts in attempts to slow Utah, but the Jazz's fast-paced offense and ability to find open shots proved unstoppable. Looking ahead, Indiana will visit the Phoenix Suns, while Utah hosts the Atlanta Hawks. In Philly, Tyrese Maxey scored 21 points, and Kelly Oubre Jr. hit the go-ahead basket with 8.7 seconds left, leading the Philadelphia 76ers to a 102-100 victory over the Boston Celtics. Justin Edwards added a team-high 22 points, making 5 of 6 three-pointers despite the absence of Joel Embiid due to a right knee soreness. Jaylen Brown led Boston with 24 points. The Celtics had led by 8 with 6 minutes left before Edwards' 3 straight three-pointers turned the game. Philadelphia's defense sealed the win as Derek White missed a potential game-winning shot at the buzzer. Next game, Celtics host Memphis Wednesday. Sixers visit Detroit Friday. In Oklahoma City, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 28 points in just 3 quarters, and Chet Holmgren had flawless night with 23 points and 11 rebounds on perfect shooting as the league-leading Oklahoma City Thunder dominated the Golden State Warriors 126-102. Isaiah Joe added 18 points and A.J. Mitchell 17, helping the Thunder improve to 11-1 and 5-0 at home. Stephen Curry struggled in his return from illness, scoring 11 points on 4 for 13 shooting, while Jonathan Kanigma led the Warriors with 13, despite Lou Dort sitting out. Oklahoma City's defense limited Golden State to its second lowest scoring effort of the season. The Thunder built a commanding lead early, entering the fourth quarter up 107-72. Next games, Warriors at Spurs, Thunder host Lakers, both on Wednesday. So that's what happened on the court today, but there is big news off the court, and the Dallas Mavericks saga continues. And when I say saga, I mean it. This is bigger than basketball right now. It's about a city, a franchise, and fans who are not having it. Fire Nico. Fire Nico. You've heard it. It's been echoing through the American Airlines Center since early February. And guess what? It was back Monday night. Loud, passionate, painful for anyone sitting on the other side of that podium. Fans have been calling for GM Nico Harrison's head ever since that shocking trade. Luka Doncic to the Lakers. You remember the night, February the 2nd. Early morning hours, chaos, disbelief. Luka, 25, homegrown, 5-time first-team All-NBA, fresh off the finals, traded for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And you know what the league thought? Underwhelming. Underwhelming for a superstar entering his prime. Time ran out on Harrison Tuesday morning. Fired. Governor Patrick Dummett decided enough was enough. So you say, Ryder, why now? Well, it's simple. The situation was unattainable. Losing trust in your general manager is never good, especially when the roster is imploding, the fan base is screaming, and your marquee talent is dominating across the league. So let's talk about what's happening on the court. The Mavericks are one of the worst offenses in the NBA, bottom of the Western Conference, 3-8 record, and meanwhile, Luka's lighting it up for the Lakers. 37 points a game, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. Meanwhile, Davis injuries. Only 14 games played last season. Missed Monday's game against, again, with a calf strain. That absence is a ghost over the franchise. And then there's Cooper Flagg, 18-year-old lottery pick, first overall pick. He's promising, but we're talking about trying to build around a teenager while Anthony Davis is on the shelf, while your roster is thin, while your home court is a battlefield. The scene Monday night against Milwaukee was surreal. Fans, place cards with Davis's photo, make some noise signs, all echoing frustration of losing, of disappointment, of what was once a contending team. And don't forget the interaction between Dummett and fans. First game in the building since the season opener, a young man apologizing for flipping off Dummett in the past. Dummett showing remorse over the Doncic trade. That's the narrative here. Accountability and optics. Optics, optics, optics. Now, why fire Harrison now? Well, trust is gone. Uncertainty, mismanagement, decisions being questioned from every angle. Dummett decided enough was enough. Move on. That's why the timing's right now. It's critical. He sent a letter to fans. He said, we're committed to success, to winning to championships. Nice words, but let's see if actions follow. So what stands out on the floor, other than the constant negativity? The offense. A Luka-sized hole in shot creation and playmaking. There's no point guard. Flagg started at point guard. That was a disaster. D'Angelo Russell tired. Brandon Williams, is now the point guard, but there's still no floor leader. No shot creation, no spacing, no three-pointers. Dead last in assists. They're 27th. It's predictable, considering the roster leans front court and the locker room. They're miserable. Players feel the negativity. Home court, a disadvantage, 2-5 at home. Morale at a record low. Daniel Gafford says fans' focus on Harrison's firing is disheartening. Flagg admits it's the hardest losing stretch he's experienced, and that's coming from a kid at Duke. But, of course, they know the job. Win back fans. Do the work. Now, Anthony Davis, that's the big question for me. When he returns, or will he even return? The Mavs will explore the trade market. Makes sense. Build around Flagg, but it's tricky. Okay? Old. Durability issues. And they don't own future first-round picks because of past trades. They need patience, maybe 2 steps back. But Dummett, he's a new owner, and he's taken a step back, and that's not natural. Front office is next. Interim run by Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi. Mark Cuban involved behind the scenes, hoping Dennis Lindsay could be hired to help guide operations. Kidd got a multi-year extension, but let's be real. The Mavs are in transition. Chaos and uncertainty. The fans, the media, the league, all watching. So the bottom line is this. This is bigger than one general manager. It's a franchise in turmoil. Stars gone. Roster's thin. A rookie trying to carry the weight. Veterans are struggling with injuries. Fans are restless. You got a front office in flux. The fire Nico chance. It's the tip of the iceberg. So the Mavericks season, the rebuilding process, the decision's over. You gotta the Luka trade's over. You gotta reap what you sow, and that's Davis. So what do you do with Davis? I don't know. What do you do with Flagg? I don't know. Trades, maybe. Coaching, all of it under a microscope. If you're a Mavericks fan, this is what you need to do. You need to strap in because it's going to be a long ride. If you're neutral, well, enjoy the drama because the NBA doesn't get more chaotic than this. And for Harrison, 9 months, time ran out, buddy. And the league is watching Dallas pivot. So the question now is, can they turn it around? Or is this the start of a long rebuilding story? This is the kind of NBA story that has it all. Star traded, rookie sensation, veteran injuries, front office turmoil, fan outrage, chaos. The Mavericks are the team to watch this season, but not for wins, for intrigue, drama, and how a franchise rebuilds in real time. So that's the NBA today, tonight, and probably for a long time as the Dallas Mavericks try and figure this out. From NBA basketball to college football. And let's talk college football. The second college football playoff rankings dropped Tuesday night. And I'm going to show you the bracket, or not the bracket, I'm going to show you the top 25 rankings. So the top 5 unchanged. Ohio State at number 1, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia. And you know what? I don't think anybody's shocked, maybe a little, about Indiana sneaking into 2. But let's break this down. Ohio State at 1. And listen, this is no surprise. The Buckeyes are rolling. They've been dominant all season. Everybody knows it. But Indiana at number 2. Now, that's interesting. Okay? The Hoosiers needed a touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza to Omar Cooper Jr. with 36 seconds left to squeak by Penn State, who, let's be honest, has been a disaster. 6 straight losses, fired James Franklin back on October 12th, and yet here's Indiana unbeaten, still riding high at number 2. The committee apparently gave them the edge because of their defense and offensive body of work. And hey, Indiana's finding a way, right? That's the quote from Mack Rhodes, the CFP committee chair. He said, Indiana found a way to find a way. I love it. I mean, come on, that's classic Indiana, clutch in the clutch. Now, Texas A&M at 3, they're unbeaten. They're still behind Indiana, number 3. They beat Missouri last week, 38-17. They also won 41-40 at Notre Dame earlier this season. So you're telling me that the Aggies can't crack number 2. I get it. The committee is valuing Indiana's overall consistency and, I guess, body of work. But it's close. Very close. Alabama and Georgia round out the top 5. I mean, do we really need to debate this? No, we don't. You know what we're getting from Alabama and Georgia? SEC powerhouses, deep rosters, championship pedigree, end of story. Now let's get into the rest of the field. Texas Tech moves up 2 spots, overtaking Ole Miss. Dominant 29-7 win over BYU. Defensive playing, lights out. Offense a little red zone challenged. Missed some points there, but man, they're legit. BYU falls 5 spots after losing their first game of the season. Unfortunate for the Cougars, but that's college football. It's all about who wins when it matters. Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, BYU rounding out the top 12. But remember, conference champions come into play. South Florida, the highest-ranked group of 5 champion, would replace BYU as the 12th seed. And Miami, projected ACC champion, would replace Oklahoma. Makes sense. 5 conference champions are guaranteed a spot in the 12-team bracket. So if these rankings held for the bracket today, the top 4, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, A&M, and Alabama get first-round byes, the first-round games. Let's run it down. South Florida at Georgia, Miami at Texas Tech, Texas at Ole Miss, Notre Dame at Oregon. So that's college football. And it's going to be some exciting early matchups. I'm talking about December 19th and 20th, real football right in your backyard. Now, SEC dominance, folks. 6 teams in the top 12, Big Ten 3, Big 12 2. ACC has 5 teams in the top 25, but none higher than number 15. South Florida representing the American, Notre Dame independent. These conferences matter. The SEC's depth is insane. The Big 10, the Big 12, they're hanging in there. But ACC, not really top-heavy. You see that? Miami's the best ACC has to offer, even with 2 conference losses. They'll need some help to get to that championship game. And, Rhodes had something interesting to say about Miami. He said, consistency, especially on offense. He's right. Miami's been strong defensively. Head-to-head wins versus Notre Dame counts, but they've got work to do. Not a given, not even close. Some other notes: Utah at 13, Vanderbilt's in the mix. Miami, Georgia Tech, USC, Michigan, Virginia, Louisville, Cavaliers, and Cardinals dropped 5 spots after last week. Iowa, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, South Florida, Cincinnati round out the top 25. South Florida and Cincinnati making their first appearances. Missouri and Washington falling out. So those are the Week 2 rankings. SEC with 8 teams, Big Ten 6, ACC 5, Big 12 4. And one thing I like about Rhodes' comments is he says we don't look at conferences. We look at each team. I love that. It's about performance, not conference bragging rights. But we know it still matters when it comes to playoff implications. We know the big 3 or 4 will get more in than the little guys. So don't sleep on that. You got to be in a conference. Except Notre Dame, they get the benefit of the doubt for being independent, but they play ACC teams and they don't have an FCS team on their roster. Not going to see Notre Dame playing Samford like A&M will here in a couple weeks. So and don't forget about the logistics. First round games at home, higher seeds, December 19th and 20th. Quarterfinals is at the Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Semifinals at the Fiesta Bowl and Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, January 8th and 9th. Championship, Hard Rock Stadium, January 19th. Everything set. It's a nice, neat bracket. Bottom line, folks, this is where the college football gets fun. Unbeaten Indiana at undefeated Indiana at number 2. Ohio State holding strong. Texas A&M keeping pace. SEC heavyweights, Alabama and Georgia sitting in the top 5. And all the talk about the first round, it's playoff football time. And let's face it, the conversation, the debates, the hot takes, the best part, Indiana, A&M, Miami, South Florida, all these teams have a chance to prove themselves. BYU, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, plenty of opportunity for upsets. The beauty of a 12-team bracket is there's room for surprises. And believe me, we're going to see them. So strap in, because college football is delivering again. CFP rankings, first-round matchups, conference representation, Cinderella stories, heartbreakers, it's all coming your way. We'll see who can survive the first weekend, who's ready for New Year's Eve bowls, and ultimately who's going to Miami on January 19th for the national championship. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what the committee's thinking. So now I want to. So this is the 25 rankings. I want to shift gears here. This is the bracket, and I want to go through this really quick. So, like I said, Ohio State at 1, Texas A&M at 2, or Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Alabama at 4. Got 5, Georgia, 6, Texas Tech, 7, Ole Miss, 8, Oregon, 9, Notre Dame, 10, Texas, 11, Miami, and 12, South Florida. So that's the bracket. Ohio State's still sitting at number 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Alabama 4. And when you put this bracket up on the screen, you start noticing a few things. A few things jump right at you. First, the top 4, okay? And and they all get buys in the first round, and that's a huge advantage. Rest, preparation, and honestly, you get back, you get to sit back and watch some chaos before you even step onto the field. That's just smart, okay? But Ohio State, can they repeat? That's the question. I mean, we're talking about a team with championship pedigree, talent stacked from one side of the field to the other, and they're still number 1. But here's the thing. Michigan is looming in Ann Arbor in just a couple of weeks. That's going to be the real test, isn't it? Every Ohio State fan is sweating that game already. And for the committee, that could shake things up before the final rankings on December 7th. Now, Indiana at number 2. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? The Hoosiers unbeaten, finding ways to win tight games. And look at that bracket. If they advance, they could face Texas, right? And that's a Big Ten showdown waiting to happen. Indiana versus Michigan on, or Indiana versus Ohio State, depending on how the bracket shakes. That's going to make Texas A&M happy, right? Sitting at 3, watching 2 Big Ten teams duke it out before they even have to deal with them. Because if Ohio State survives Michigan, they would play Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Okay. So no matter what, 1 or 2 will have to play. Either, they're going to have to play each other. And Texas A&M saying, hey, just sit back and I'll let you take each other out. I won't have to do nothing. That's smart. And if you ask me, Texas A&M, oh man, they're sitting pretty. But don't forget they've got Texas in a couple of weeks, a matchup that could be critical for seeding and confidence heading into the postseason. And if you're an A&M fan, you're smiling about Indiana's spot in the bracket. Let the Big Ten wear themselves out before you step onto the field. That's playoff chess right there. Alabama at 4, you know what they're bringing? Chaos, talent, tradition. They're a first-round bye. But whoever comes out of the South Florida at Georgia game, that's going to be dangerous. Georgia's already a beast. South Florida, that's the American champion. Hypothetically, watch out, Alabama. First-round action can be tricky. Momentum swings. Anything can happen. That's what makes this bracket exciting. First-round games on campus. This is huge. Notre Dame at Oregon. Texas at Ole Miss. Miami at Texas. Miami at Texas Tech. I'll get these Texas teams. We got a lot of Texas teams. You got Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Texas. And all 3 of them could be in the. You could have 3 out of the 4 Final 4 teams from Texas. I mean, that's mind-boggling. But each one of these is a story, and it's a big stage. Home crowd advantage, travel, weather, all these factors come into play. And let's not forget, these are teams fighting for a chance to face the top 4 in the quarterfinals. You want upsets, first rounds where they typically happen. But that's why I love it. I look at the potential here, and I see 12 different stories and 12 different scenarios. Notre Dame at Oregon, Fighting Irish trying to make a statement. Do they go back to the national championship? Could we have a repeat of last year? Well, we might in the quarterfinal a rematch of last year. Does Notre Dame this time knock off the giant of Ohio State? It's going to be interesting. Oregon, the reigning Big Ten champion. They got beat by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Do they get the rematch and get the winner there? You don't know. That's massive. South Florida, Georgia. Georgia has the talent, but South Florida's coming in with nothing to lose. And Alabama's waiting on the winner. And again, momentum, crowd, history of surprises in the early rounds. Miami at Texas Tech, ACC champion, hypothetically, versus a Big 12 powerhouse. That's the type of matchup that could sneak up on you. And don't be surprised if one of these teams rolls in and steals the spotlight before anyone realizes what happened. Texas at Ole Miss, Big 12 clash in the old school Big 12 clash, but SEC matchup. First round, two talented, explosive offenses, and then, Texas or Ole Miss will play Indiana. We always talk about the Big Two powerhouses, SEC, Big Ten, and that's a tough path for anybody, but Indiana has a test in the making. I keep coming back to Ohio State, repeat champions. We haven't had it in a while. And they've got the talent, coaching and history. But this bracket, and this is potential, a lot of stuff's got to happen and take place there. But potentially, Indiana, Michigan, if Ohio State loses to Michigan on Thanksgiving weekend, I think obviously Indiana would be number one. I don't know how far Ohio State falls because they wouldn't play in the Big Ten title game. Oregon would. And then if Oregon beats Indiana, that's chaos right there. But I don't know. Big Ten championship game in Lucas Oil. Got to believe Indiana, whoever they play, is going to have a lot of crowd. So it's all going to depend on that Ohio State-Michigan game. Michigan's lurking, okay? And I said this at the beginning. I said this a while ago. Oregon knocked off Penn State, okay? And then Indiana knocked off Oregon. And you know who was sitting there just waiting for their moment? That was Michigan, okay? Michigan defeated USC. Michigan has an opportunity at home to knock off the number one team in the nation. And so Michigan's lurking, and that's going to test them like never before. And for Indiana sitting at 2 unbeaten, this is the spotlight, okay? You had an opportunity last year. You made it. You were the Cinderella team. You got knocked off by Notre Dame. No surprises really there. And Notre Dame was a great team and, of course, lost in the national championship to Ohio State. But this year's bigger, right? You get the bye. You're number 2. So you're on full display here. Could they shock the country? Could they make Ohio State sweat? Absolutely. Whoever they play, they're going to sweat. And remember, Big Ten championships in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium. So right now, Ohio State and Indiana, that's the potential Big Ten matchup on the night before the bracket is finalized. So, and again, but the week before, Ohio State has to play a hot Michigan team. And then if Ohio State loses, Oregon gets their shot at going back-to-back in the Big Ten champion. So a lot of stuff going on in the Big Ten. And don't forget Texas and Texas A&M that same weekend that Ohio State has to play Michigan. So big games happening at the end of the year. And that's what makes it fun. So don't forget the schedule. First round on campus, December 19th and 20th. Quarterfinals is at the Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Semifinals at Fiesta and Peach Bowl. National Championship January 19th at Hard Rock Stadium. So this bracket sets up storylines for weeks, momentum, injuries, home field advantage. Everything matters. You can see it on the screen. The map of potential matchups, the Pats, the possibilities. What stands out to me? Well, Big Ten. That may be the headline. The SEC, loaded. Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas looming for A&M. Miami, trying to, represent the ACC. South Florida might be the best group of 5 team I've seen in a long time. And can Notre Dame get revenge? They're going to play if that bracket holds up, they're going to play a very tough Oregon team on the road, and then get that championship rematch against Ohio State. Ole Miss has depth. They're intriguing. So this bracket sets up drama from top to bottom. If you're a college football fan, just look at this bracket and imagine the narratives. Who's peaking at the right time? Who's playing well in December? Who's got the talent to run through this field? This is what you dream about, the possibilities, the matchups, the tension, building week after week. And for TV viewers watching the bracket, I say this. Don't just look at who's playing. Look at the paths. Look at potential battles. Look at matchups that could define the season. Indiana at number 2. Ohio State holding on at 1. Texas A&M sitting pretty at 3. This is the type of bracket that makes you tune in every single week. Bottom line is this. It's about storylines, surprises, and potential repeat champions. First-time contenders, Big Ten showdowns, SEC depth. ACC trying to make noise. Group of 5 showing up. This bracket is loaded. It's going to get even more interesting as we approach the final rankings on December 7th. So buckle up. Watch the bracket, follow the storylines, and remember, first round, first quarter, second of the season doesn't matter. December 19th and 20th, the real action begins. And and that's what makes college football playoff so exciting. So that is where we stand, and I'm just so. I can't even wait till next week because all this stuff is going on, and it's exciting, and I hope you're excited as I am. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's see what's trending in sports. Busy day in men's basketball, college hoops. We'll take you around the men's college hoops scoreboard. Number 9, Kentucky taking on number 12, Louisville. It was Louisville getting it done, 96-88. Number 6, Michigan defeated Wake Forest 85-84. 14th ranked Illinois won at home against Texas Tech 81-77. BYU defeated Delaware 85-68, proving why they are ranked number 7th. Florida State traveled to Gainesville to take on the number 10 national champion Florida Gators, and it was the Gators getting it done in the Swamp, 78-76. Number 24, Wisconsin held on against Ball State, 86-55, and number 5, Arizona defeated Arizona, 84-49. That's what's going on in the world of sports. There is no true final thought tonight other than just thank you for the veterans, and a happy Veterans Day if you are watching and listening, and if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. That'll do it for me on this late Wednesday morning, or early Wednesday morning, late Tuesday night.